Okay, so all these activities can be your quality improvement activities. You can write down about all of this stuff, and it shouldn't be you who has done all these things. If you have witnessed anything, you can mention that and you can write a reflection on that. If you have any questions about these things, you can ask me. And after that, I will be opening my MAG portfolio, and then I will show you what to write in that. Any questions so far? We have 9 minutes left in this meeting. So this is a MAG form. This is how it looks like. I am in section 3 of MAG form, as we discussed earlier, that this section is about your profile, basically your name, GMC number. You have to write down your address, telephone, email, name of designated body. That will be your hospital. Your qualifications, whatever degrees you hold. Some people have some other masters or BSc degrees, whatever degrees you are having, you have to write down those degrees here. And then year of appraisal, for example, it is this 2022 year is 2022. So you will write it down. This one, date of your due date of your next revalidation. So it will be on your GMC. You can open your GMC, check the date, and you can write down here your date, your appraiser's name. So whoever is doing your appraiser, you will write down his name. Your hospital can, your hospital's appraisal and revalidation team will tell you about that person. And then this is your scope of work. You have to write down what work you are doing right now, what is your job title, and then what are your responsibilities, just like we are writing it down in our NHS portfolio. You have to write down that. And if you are doing more than one job, for example, you are locuming somewhere. For example, I have seen people, I have few people who are doctors, along with that, they are pharmacists. So if you have different roles, you can write down all these, and then you can mention any, significant relationship between your both roles, if there is any. And if you are planning to change, like about this question, if you're planning to change your work, for example, if you are changing your field or anything, you can write it down here in this column. And then next section, another important thing that I forgot to mention is that this MAG form, you need a special Adobe reader for that. This one, if you can see, will not open with any other reader. And I think for my hospital, they told me that this reader is going to open this MAG form. For your hospital, it might be different. I'm not sure, but it should be up to date. Otherwise, you will be having trouble in opening the form. And you have to save the form in your computer and then open it with this reader, and it should be up to date, and then everything will be fine afterwards. If this is your first appraisal, then you will take this column, and here, if you have, this is not your first appraisal, then you will write down date of your last appraisal. And again, this question, you can understand that question. If it is not your first appraisal, you have to mention that. Now comes your personal development plans and reviews. So this one, you have to write, for example, job role. Please select your job role here. For example, foundation. I can't edit right now. If this is your first appraisal, again, you don't need this portion. If it is your second appraisal, then from your previous PDP plan, you have to write down something here. How you have achieved. For example, as we discussed earlier, that you wanted to apply for GP training, and if you have achieved that, then you can write it down here. And if not, then you can write down the reason behind that. and discuss it with your appraiser. Here you will write down your CPD activities as we mentioned earlier. Write down a date and brief description of your activity, and then outcome of learning or reflection or whatever you want to write down here. For example, if you have attended any conference, you can write down about that conference here, and then the learning outcome from that conference and how many hours it gave you. Each hour is one CPD point. If you have attended any activity that lasted for 4 hours, then you can write down 4 here. And then it shows supporting information attached, email to appraiser, provided separately, not available. If you have attended something and you have a certificate for that, you can attach your certificate here. Another way of doing this thing is, if you can combine all your activities in a PowerPoint presentation or a Word document, you can copy paste all your certificates there, and you can write down specific reflection on that. And then there will be a portion at the end, and you can upload your PowerPoint presentation at that point. I think it is more easier, because here you have to attach everything. If you have not attached, then you can if you can attach, you can attach here. Otherwise, you can make a PowerPoint presentation or a Word document in any format. You can put all those stuff at one place, and then you can attach it with your appraisal mag form. Again, quality improvement activities, as we discussed, whatever you have done, you will be writing it down here. It will not only include audit and quality, audit and QIP, you can include other stuff as well. Mortality, morbidity, MDT, teaching, everything. There is any significant event, you can mention that. If there is no, then I have not been named in any significant event. And the certificate you have got from your hospital, you will be attaching that certificate. Feedback from colleagues and patients. If it is your first appraisal, no need for it. If it is your subsequent second, third one, then you should be having something in this portion as well. Review of complaints and compliments. If you have any complaints in the last year, you can mention that and then write a reflection on it. If there is none, then I have not been named in any complaints. If you have got any specific compliments and you want to mention here, well, that is very good, mention it here. And if there are any complaints or anything, you can mention, you can attach those that stuff here. It is mentioned that you can attach the attachments. Yes, so your achievements, whatever you have achieved, what are your aspiration, and anything else you want to discuss with your appraiser, you can mention that in this portion. For example, if you have achieved anything, for example, during this time you were able to do masters in public health during your first year, that can be your achievement. There might be other stuff as well. You might be having better idea than me. This is your health probity. You have to tick that if it applies to you. And then, yeah, next section will be additional information. Have you been requested to bring specific information to your appraisal by your organization or responsible officer? For example, if your organization wants your training records, you can put it down here. Or if there is anything else, you can put down here your previous job plan, your the PowerPoint presentation I was talking about, in which you have mentioned all the CPD things. You can attach that information here as well. And then supporting information, you can attach. If you want to attach anything, you can attach here. So just keep in mind the size that is mentioned here. If it is too big, then you will be having some trouble in attachment. If it is too big, then you can divide it